What is up, everyone? What is up, gamers, and what is happening? Basically, I'm going to be doing a quick post-platinum trophy review of the last, no, the first, not the last, the first Descendant. So, just to kind of, again, show off my gaming credentials a little bit. Here we go. Alright, you see that? Started playing 9th of March, finished by the 6th of April. Took me a month. We good with that? So basically, there you go. All the trophies unlocked. Basically, this is going to be a review of the game after I've completed all of this. And I don't have a lot of positive things to say, so let's actually jump into it and just talk about the details of the game. So, first and foremost, let's actually tackle the positives because I feel like that's a good place to start. I like how the game looks. The game actually has graphically looks quite nice. I do like the sci-fi theme that they've got going on, and also the character designs are quite nice. So I am actually playing as Bunny right now. Bunny is actually my go-to character. So you initially start off with so you start off with only one character. Now these characters are referred to as Descendants, and basically the story revolves around stuff happening. Now you might be like, ooh, what kind of stuff is happening? I'll talk about that in the negatives because I don't really have a lot to say in that regard. So just sticking with the positives, I like how the game looks. I like the theming that they're going for. Some of the character designs are quite nice. Like I said, Bunny, you can see her cheeks kind of like, sticking out a little bit there. But yeah, a lot of good stuff. And that's all the good stuff that I have to say. Now let's talk about the negatives. So, jumping on to the story, since I've already started talking about that to some extent. The story, not very good. Basically, I thought, okay, I'm going to follow along with the story, see what's going on, and just kind of pay attention to what's happening. But the thing is that a lot of the terminology used in the universe were, let's just put it this way, there was so much of it that it basically made me kind of sit there and think to myself, what the heck am I even doing right now? Like, what the heck is going on? What are these terms supposed to mean? Who are these people? What is going on? And after about an hour of game time, I was like, I can't be bothered. I'm just not even gonna think about, the story, and I'm just gonna skip every cutscene. And that's basically what I did. I just got so tired of the game story that I just kind of completely skipped all of the cutscenes moving forward. The story is told incredibly poorly, is delivered in an incredibly boring fashion, and doesn't really help matters because the writing, the in-universe terminology just doesn't help itself, and also the voice acting hurts my ears. So, with all that put together, story, a massive fail, without a shadow of a doubt. Could the story get good later on? Maybe, but I don't care to find out because I did not care from the very beginning. So if I don't care from the beginning, what difference is it going to make it by the end of it, The next thing that I really don't like, the gameplay. So basically the gameplay is quite stock standard. It's a third-person shooter, which tries to call itself a looter shooter, but the problem is that the loot is not at all interesting, and in fact kind of hurts the gameplay quite a bit. I'm honestly not a fan of the mechanics because, again, it's just shooting and then you use abilities sometimes to make things slightly more interesting. I don't like how you obtain characters. So basically you either pay premium currency to unlock characters, or you have to do some immense grinding to obtain the items required to create those characters. And to create a character, it can take as much as 24 hours to do that. So very much not a fan of the grinding and extremely luck-based element of obtaining characters. And you might think, wait, what about gacha games? The thing is that I would much rather roll for characters in a gacha game than get the characters here. Because just to give you an idea, so basically in this game, I keep using the Warframe terminology, but there are these amorphous, I want to say is what it's called, these amorphous things. Basically, you can obtain them and open them, but basically you have a chance of getting the thing that you want among 4 or 5 different possible outcomes, and among those 4 or 5 items are going to be parts or items that are required to unlock characters. Not necessarily, but that is something that you will be wanting to get a lot of. And unfortunately, trophy-wise, you will need to obtain 5 characters. Now, either you can do all the grinding and unlock the character in-game without paying any money at all, or you can pay a little bit of money, get the premium currency for super cheap, and then use the premium currency to unlock the character without having to do the grinding. And everything in this game can be paid for, by the way. So I really, really do not like the microtransactions. I absolutely hate the fact that everything can be purchased, from characters to level ups, like being able to multiply how many level ups you get and things like that. Just to give you an idea, here are amorphous materials here. So there's like 5 AC and 4 as an example. But yeah, I really, like I said, do not like what they're doing with the shop. I do not like what they're doing with the character creation, like being able to get more characters as part of your roster. I do not like the basically how bland the gameplay is. I do not like how the story is being delivered and how boring it is. It in fact becomes incredibly uninteresting for the most part. I think I can make a very close parallel to Destiny in all the worst ways. Because when I look at the mechanics, when I look at how everything is put together, it's actually an equivalent to that of Warframe. If you've played Warframe, you will find a parallel for everything Warframe related in this game. Those amorphous materials, for example, they're basically void relics. Void missions in this game, they're basically void missions. There is mastery ranks in this game, just like there's mastery ranks in, in Warframe. But the thing is that at least what made Warframe really, really fun was the fact that you could bullet jump. The fact that you looked really, really cool as a Warframe. The fact that there was some genuine differences between the weapons in the game. Because the weapons in this game feel very, very samey, and all you can do is look at the DPS and be like, haha, I want to use that weapon. The DPS is better. But the DPS in this game means nothing because I'm currently using the Thunder Cage, which is basically the best weapon for Bunny. But DPS isn't the best thing. It's more about the modules that you've set in that kind of dictate your abilities and things like that. Modules are what carry your Descendant and your weapons to be able to do more and more difficult content. So unfortunately, it's not really all that easy to get used to, so it's just knowing what kind of build you want to make. Because Bunny is a particularly squishy character, which is that she has low health and low defense, I did need to make use of things like Agony for increasing defense, increased defense for increasing defense, and increasing my HP and increasing my I don't have anything for shields, but increasing my HP and increasing my defense for survivability, and then making use of Focus on Electric, Technician, Skill Insight for increasing the power of my skills. So you know the electric field that I was running around with, doing pulsating electric attacks in an AoE range, basically allowing that to exist, making that stronger, but also increasing the possible critical hit rate, and also making sure that I can keep using that skill over and over again by decreasing the cooldown with Nimble Fingers. So basically you have to find a way to build your character the best way you can. That is something that is at least cool and open to you, but for the most part a lot of the things about this game just aren't particularly good. And as you can see on the left here, it says obtain Freyna's equipment material, which means it's asking me to keep doing those amorphous materials until I'm able to acquire a specific item to get Freyna. And of course, to get Freyna, I'm going to need 3 or 4 different items in order to do that. And then if I go all the way over to the research, which is how you unlock characters or create items, if you have the required materials, they also take a bit of time, unfortunately. Like the items that I created the most took 7.5 hours. But if I go to research request and I go down to Descendants, and I go to, so we're looking at Freyna basically. Basically, we need these 4 items, and these 4 items can only be acquired by doing stuff and being lucky. And then once you do have the items, you come back here, you spend 400,000 of the in-game currency, which you can earn in-game, and wait 24 hours before getting another character. But of course, you can also get incredibly unlucky and just completely, not completely, like, just have to keep doing the same thing over and over again until you eventually get what you're after. But yeah, basically this game is incredibly grindy for no reason at all. Getting money takes time and you need to grind it, and the same thing can be said for Kupia shards. Kupia shards are what I use to level up your mods basically. So you need money and Kupia shards, and leveling things up, again, like I said, takes time and is just incredibly annoying. So basically these things here are Kupia shards and gold. So like if I try to increase my focus on electric, that's going to require a decent cost that I do not have to hit max, so I can only hit second highest level on focus on electric. But I need to get like another 33,800 Koopa shards or whatever it's called, I can't remember now. Yeah, so I don't think that this is a good game. I actually have a lot to complain about. Everything is way too grindy, the gameplay is way too boring, the story is completely dull and completely uninteresting. The only good things that the game has going on is how it looks, and basically like some of the character designs look a bit nice, but that's about it. I think there's a lot of negativity around this game. In this sort of mini review, whatever you want to call it, me just sharing my thoughts on this game, and I just don't like it at all. And you might think, well, I said before that, a lot of these things are equivalent to that of Warframe. I would argue that after 400 hours of Warframe, I probably don't like Warframe all that much either. Sure, I had some fun with it for the first 20 to 30 hours, but it was still more fun than this game was, that's for sure. This game was boring out of the gates and remained boring throughout, so I don't know what else to say. I'm just not having fun with it, and I can't in good conscience recommend it. Why did I go for the Platinum? Because I do want to get the PS4 Platinum before the server shut down, and sure enough, I have the Platinum for the PS4 version, auto-popped the PS5 Platinum, so I'm happy with all of that. But with all that being said, however, let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below, because I'd be interested to hear what your thoughts are about the first Descendant. Pop them into the comments below, especially if you've played it or tried it. Again, this is a free-to-play game. I'm complaining a lot, but the thing is that there have been free-to-play games that have actually been good, so do keep it in mind that even though this is a free-to-play title, there are still better quality titles out there that I would much rather be playing that are free-to-play. But I also just kind of want to mention, like, if you've watched up until now, you basically watched till the end, and I do very much appreciate that, because that's quite easily the best thing that you could do to help support the channel. But with all that being said, however, like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel. I'm aiming for 500 subs by the end of the year, and with all that being said, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.